What is going on, friends? Sean Don coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have Sebastian Tesch. He is a collegiate thrower at Northwood University, good old Division II, former home of Marcus Myers. Love that guy. He was coaching there. Yeah, so Sebastian just signed up for throwing programming over on my website, gripandrip.co. So included with that is this in-depth technical analysis. Yeah, so if you yourself are interested in gaining an advantage over your competitors, setting some big PRs, making some technical changes this indoor season, or heading into outdoors for hammer, then hit me up. Go to my website, like I said, gripandrip.co. Check out my coaching services page. Plenty of options on there to suit your needs. All right. Like I said, gripandrip.co. Now's the time to do it. All right. It's already indoor season has started. I know a lot of people are hitting their season openers either this past weekend or this upcoming weekend. So you got to get on the train now, all right? If you want to see some big gains, iron out your technique a little bit. So in this edition of technical analysis, we have two videos because for Sebastian, this first video we're going to watch was from before winter break, and things were looking pretty solid. He was looking pretty dialed in. And then the second video is after winter break. So we'll kind of point out what's maybe going wrong in that second video compared to this first video. But so let's just get into it. Enough talking. So this first video, like I said, before break, and the four videos you sent me, Sebastian, were pretty good looking. I think this one was maybe my favorite of the four, but they were all pretty similar, pretty solid, pretty stable, pretty consistent in terms of kind of what's going wrong or what's going right. And yeah, so let's break it down real quick. I'll tell you what I like. You do a great job of winding the weight. A lot of people don't handle that pretty well, but that being said, you are a stronger guy. You know, your bench is up over 400 pounds, your squat and deadlift are over 600 pounds, Olympic lifts up in the 300s. So things pretty solid. You have the strength to manage winding the weight. So you're starting left foot at 0, so a little offset here. I'm a fan of that. We'll see how that affects the throw later on. But you do a little step back here. All right, you're letting the weight come far back behind you. And then as you bring the ball forwards, you're stepping up with it, doing a good job there. Overall, I'm a fan of your technique. I think you got some pretty good stuff in there. So like, I'm really excited to see what we can do to improve that. But good step up here, stepping out a little bit. As you can see, you're facing the right side of what I guess the cage, or just facing the right side in general, opening up the shoulders really well. You see your hips shifting forwards as the ball's back behind you. Got good flow with it. Combing that hair. You're opening up really well. You can see your shoulders are almost turned back in the direction of the left sector line, which is dope. Connecting really early. All right. Really stable base. And then you can see as the ball starts to come from 180, you're starting to set up that left side pretty well. You're getting that long left arm. That right side is connected. You can see that right elbow kind of straightening out, pushing forwards. See this left arm nice and long coming across the body, but not pulling, I guess. Across the body is not the right word for it, but you're just setting up the entry pretty well. All right, you're opening up, connecting well off 180, getting the ball long to the right. It does drop a little bit on you here, but you manage it well. It doesn't affect your posture. It doesn't affect your connection. It's a natural sort of drop. You're keeping the weight in its natural orbit. So as you go through 0, left side, pretty stable. Left shoulder stable. All right, that's awesome there. You can see this left leg bleeding a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. Big thing is this left side is pretty stable. So you see shoulder, knee, toe, pretty solid. Hip a little bit back, but that's normal, I think. And then you can see as the ball goes through 0, that right side is turning with it. You're really square to the ball, which is good. Maybe leading it a tiny bit, but you can see it kind of hits its low point right around there, out in front of the right foot, and then high point right about there, 180 degrees opposite of where that low point was. And then, like I said, the big thing here is that stable left side, and the right side goes with it. That right side's really connected. Those hips are really connected. You're driving and turning that right side with it. And then as you go into the next turn, going through single support, you can see with that right side being really connected, You catch super early. All right, this is solid, pretty solid posture, pretty solid positioning in general. And then as you go through double support again, it's solid. Left side, good left side stability because the right side's turning with it pretty well. You are missing that ACL on that right leg, but it doesn't bother you apparently. At least it doesn't look like it bothers you. Just, things are turning pretty well. You can see that left leg leaning a little bit, so maybe we can do a little bit of work on that left leg. You can see that left foot's opening up a little bit early, but upper body's pretty square with the ball. Right side's with it pretty well. You can see, like I said, that left side, that left toe kind of reaching. All right, but you're hanging on the ball pretty well. Keep getting it pretty long left. We go back to the previous turn, leave my mouse there. Getting the ball longer left. That's good. Longer left there. And then you go to step in. Once again, good posture, shoulders level, hips underneath you. Stepping in the direction of the sector, getting that direction forwards. And then as you catch and go through double support yet again, good stability, shoulder, the left foot's still leading. Right side getting a little bit behind, but it's still turning. The knee and hip are turning with it pretty well, but you can see the foot's just kind of lagging behind a little bit. But pretty good stability, pretty good direction, good pendulum. Ball long left again, no need to even check because I know it's longer left. But you can still see that left foot kind of reaching, opening up a little bit early. And then you start to see that right side get a little bit more behind. It's not as connected as it was the previous turn, as you can see, pretty much with the ball. And then this turn, looks like it's just a little bit behind. Maybe. I'm reaching for that. But you catch, good posture, hips underneath you yet again, in the direction of the sector. And then it looks like you get a little antsy 3 into 4. So you catch, and then you can start to see that left side pulling back a little bit, just a little bit there. You can see those arms tighten up a little bit. I don't know if you use any tacky, but you can see that left arm just a little bit tight. And you see you're kind of anticipating this final turn. You can see that left side up and back and leading ahead of it. And then because of that, you're going to see same sort of reach with the left foot. And you see this wide right leg. All right, so this instability in the left shoulder here as it goes through 0. And then you see this wide right leg. All right, so you're kind of shortening the orbit a little bit around the left. The ball's still getting pretty left, but you're just, I guess you're not patient enough in the previous double support, or in that double support. All right. So, and then with that wide right leg, this is a common thing that I've seen across all of your videos. You get that wide right leg in single support, and then a wider catch in double support. So then you end up catching late. So let's see where you catch here. A little bit later, and because you catch a little bit later, that left side wants to go a little bit more, and then wide right leg, and then you catch a little bit wider and a little bit later. You catch. Not a ton of tension in the body here, but you're strong enough that you can handle it, especially with the weight. I'm sure it feels pretty comfortable for you. And then you can see this left side, same sort of thing, kind of pulling back. And you had quite a few throws that were kind of going left. The comp video you sent me from before break, and then some of your other throws that you sent after break were down the left sector, which this is the main proponent or the main cause of that. So you can see this left side really pulling back. You can see the extension through the left leg, and then the right side's not quite turning with it, which is kind of splitting hairs. But with that kind of antsy finish, you can see you kind of pull off a little bit, and you end up over the left side of the circle, but ball goes out the middle. So yeah, that's a pretty solid looking throw though. All right, and I just used 6 minutes to analyze that when the one we really want to analyze is this one. So this is after break. So now we have an idea of what your technique looks like when things are going pretty well, and now we're going to compare it to how things are feeling now, and what might you be missing, and how can we fix that moving forward. So same sort of thing, left foot at 0, good step back, wind, good step up, step out, open up the shoulders really well, connecting pretty good. All right. I think one thing I noticed in the other turn is that maybe your shoulders are getting a little bit more open, or maybe it's just a camera angle. But it looked like your right elbow was up and back a little bit more. But that's splitting hairs. And then as you go through 0, or sorry, as you go through double support, as you go through entry, same sort of stability in that left side. maybe even a little bit better here. And then right leg, not quite as with it, or maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself because what I see in the next turn is kind of the big difference. But pretty solid entry, good stability. Right side with it pretty well. Ball looks maybe like it's a little bit lower around the left, but it looks like you just don't have as good of direction in this throw, just after break in general. So maybe you could think about as the ball goes through zero, just pushing backwards to 180 with the, like through this left toe, just get a little bit of direction in that left side. So as it goes through zero, just a little bit of direction back towards the sector. Because you can see this right leg comes a little bit wide. And you can see you get pulled around the left a little bit. So you're missing a little bit of that same feeling that you had before. So a little bit more pressure through the left toe maybe. And then as you go to catch, not bad here. Hips are back a little bit. Hips could be a little bit more underneath you. You could be a little bit more forwards, I guess, with that right knee. A little bit more knee angle, shin angle in that right leg. So it just looks like you're a little bit heavy on that left side towards the end of double support. Like the ball's pulling you a little bit around the left. You can see the hips kind of spinning out a little bit, and you don't quite have the same direction as you had in the previous turn. So maybe there's a little more pressure through that left toe. Feel the ball stretch towards the right sector line a little bit more because you can see looks like the ball gets to here and then starts getting pulled across a little bit, which just kind of checks out with what you said, where you feel like you don't have the same tension or connections you had before break, so you're just pulling it more than you were before, which is an accurate assessment. But slightly less direction, left side pretty stable. And then you can see, I think the difference here is that left heel grounds, goes through zero, and it looks like the ball's just a little bit lower around the left, so your direction is more down the left sector line rather than it was the right sector line or even 180. And then I think the big thing I see is your hips are back a little bit, so your posture is kind of the issue, I think, from before break and then to after break. So as the ball goes left, you can see your hips are back a little bit more from the ball. It's very subtle, but instead of your hips, if this were the center of your hips here, it looked like before the center of your hips were there. So maybe just a few inches, but that connection to the hips and just the body in general. And then, like I said, that lack of direction kind of all adds to your issues. You can see the ball just doesn't have the same direction. Same thing, kind of low point. Not low point, but it's a little bit lower around the left. And then as you catch, and then you go through the next double support, you can see you're just like, you don't quite have the same pressure, tension, stability, connection just in general in this throw. It looks like you don't have the same sort of direction backwards, where you can see it looks like you're not really getting back on the ball until it's after zero, where you can see same thing, hips back a little bit. And once you get the back on the ball, like I said, it doesn't look like it doesn't come back. Like you're not really getting back. You're not hitting that pendulum until the ball's after zero. So that's why the direction of throw to me looks like it's going down the left sector line a little bit more instead of towards 180 or down the right sector line. So you just don't have the same tension, which we've already established. Then you see this right foot kind of peels off. It's a little lazy. And you're going to see the same sort of thing. The hips kind of get sucked down around the left, pulled down around the left. Right here, it's this movement. Hips kind of sinking away from the ball as the ball's going towards the sector when you should be kind of driving the hips forward towards the sector. Catch, another decent position, hips back just a little bit. And then as you go through double support again, pretty good stability, but same sort of thing. You don't really get back on the ball until it's about here. All right, so you're just a little bit late on that pendulum motion. And then you can see that left side opening up a little bit more like it did in the previous throw. That left side kind of opening up and reaching, and that right side just a little bit behind. And you see this, you're going to see the same thing in this turn. The hips get sucked down around this left side, sucked down. All right, so hips kind of back away. Not quite as wide on this catch, but you can see the hips are cut down and back. So we'll see how the finish looks. A little collapse in that right side, and then you can see the same thing here. So like when the ball gets in front of your hips, all right, it doesn't happen until about here. Hips don't get underneath until the ball is just after zero. And you can see if you were going to finish, hit a really good finish, to me it looks like you're throwing to the left sector. All right. And then, yeah, so you're just getting back on the ball a little bit late. Your pendulum motion's a little bit wrong. Your direction's a little bit off. And that kind of all starts from the start of the throw. So big thing is, like I said, a little bit more patience in entry. Let the ball stretch a little bit forwards. Like I said, a little bit more left toe pressure to keep you centered in entry. Where, like I said, it looks like you're just, and then you're getting pulled around the left a little bit. And the big thing is just connecting the hips. To me, it looks like you don't have the same kind of hip connection, that same tension in the body as you did before break. But as we discussed, that's going to take some time to come back. And I think this video will kind of be a good reminder for you to focus on that, because, like I said, that same sort of getting pulled around the left motion, your body is just a little bit too much around the left. The same direction and tension and everything you had in the previous throw. But it's not too far off, so give it another couple weeks and it'll be back, I'm sure. So yeah, you know what you got to do. You saw what you did good in the first video. You saw what you didn't do as well in this video. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. As I said before, if anybody else is interested in working with me, getting some extra coaching this indoor season or outdoor season, 2024 in general, now's the time to do it. Go to my website and sign up, gripandrip.co, all right? Or shoot me a message on Instagram at SDThrows and let me know if you have any questions, all right? And we can get you sorted out, alrighty? So until next time, thanks for watching. Sean Don signing off.